Hey, what's up folks? Welcome back to another Layer by Layer. In today's tutorial, we're going to make a stand for the Adafruit MagTag. So let's jump right into it. So definitely check out the Adafruit MagTag. If you want to pick one up, you can get notified when they're back in stock. Just sign up. You'll get notified by email. This was a really cool e-ink display. We're going to make a stand for it today. Really cool thing about it is it has these built-in standoffs, so it's really easy to secure it to a case, a mount, a stand. We also have these little magnetic feet, so you can stick it right on your fridge if you don't even want to make a stand for it. So that's really cool. So let's just jump into Fusion. We have a 3D model of the MagTag, so if folks want to download that, you can use the links in the description. It's got all the components on board, the standoffs, of course, and even the ESP32S2, along with the USB-C connector, stemma ports, and all the little bits and bobs that are on the back there. So that's really cool. We've already made a stand for the MagTag, but this is a sort of a horizontal stand, so it works like that. It's kind of nice, but we really have some cool project ideas for making a portrait vertical style project. So we need to make a stand for it so that it's propped up vertically. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'll go ahead and make a new document. Before I can import any models, I need to save this. So I'll just save this as a vertical stand for MagTag. Cool. And then I'll just bring this into the document. So I'll right click on it, insert into current design. Now, before I hit the OK button, I want to orient it vertically already for me, so I don't have to like think about joints and things already. I just want to position it before I hit the OK button. So at this point, I want to think like, where do I want my connector? Do I want to have the USB-C connector plugged from the top or from the bottom? So it's up to you. Because it's symmetrical, it won't matter because you'll be able to put it either or, but it's good to think about clearances and things before you add it. So I'll probably have it like this where the USB-C connector is pointing down. So I'll hit OK because that's how I positioned it. And then the next things I'll do is create a new component. This is where our stand will be. So I'll just name it stand. So when I'm making stands, I normally just do a side profile. So looking at it from like the front, I tend to draw on the side, and that way I can easily figure out the viewing angle and stuff. So let's go ahead and make a new sketch with my stand component selected. I'll select this surface here, which is the side. Cool. So I'm going to use a rectangle tool. So I'll bring up the rectangle tool and then just kind of draw this out. Now what I want to do is I want to start thinking about numbers, values, wall thicknesses, heights, widths, that sort of thing. So I want this to be parametric, so I'll bring up my user parameter window, which is this guy here, and I'll start with my first one. So the first one will be the wall thickness. So how thick do I want my walls to be? I like to make them 3 millimeters for stands, so that works out well. And then I'll make the length of the base. So I'll just punch in some numbers here, 90, and then the height of the stand height. Make this like maybe 100. Stand width is another one. Maybe make this 70. And then there's another one I want to do the viewing angle. So when you're doing a viewing angle, you want to do the degrees. So the unit of measurement has to change from millimeters to angle and then degrees here. So I'll call this view angle, if I can spell it. And then the expression will be 70 degrees because I tend to use 70 degrees. And we can modify these numbers as we want. So I'll hit OK. All right, so now that I have this, I want to make this the thickness. So that's the wall thickness, okay? And then I want to position this in the center of this sketch point. So if we select the sketch point, you can see that it's at 0, 0, 0, which is right in the center of the whole workspace coordinate. So I'll select these two, and then I'll apply a midpoint constraint. So that's always in the center there now. That's cool. So the next things I'll do is make a series of lines that will create the kind of stem for the stand. So I'll create a line, and I'll make sure that I like lock it into this edge here. So I'll make sure to click on that point. And then what I want to do is I want to add that degree here. So I'll say viewing angle there. So that locks it in there. And then this right here, I want this to be the height of the stand. So I'll punch that in there and then just click. And then that defines it for me. So I got that. Now the only other thing is like how far off do I want this to be positioned. So I can say I want this sketch point to be a certain distance from that edge. We'll just hard code it right now for now. So let's say like 20. Cool. All right, another thing I can add here is a length to this line here, which is the base. And we've already established one, so I'll say base length. That's how I want it, all right? And then what I need to do, I just need to finish this right here. So starting back up here, I'll grab my line tool and I'll start from this sketch point. And if you kind of move this around, you'll see that a perpendicular constraint shows up, which is nice. I want this to be perpendicular. So I'll click on that. And then the last line here, also make that perpendicular. And then I can hit the little checkbox here to say, okay. So now what I need to do is to glue this sketch point to this line down here. So with the shift key selected, I have those two selected, and then I can say I want a constraint, a coincident constraint, and that locks it down there. And then the last thing I need to do here is to apply a thickness to this guy here. You can see here if I go straight up, that's not perpendicular. I want this sketch dimension to be perpendicular, so I'll make sure that it is. And then I can say wall thickness, and now that's fully defined. So yeah, that looks good. All right, the next things I'll do is hit finish sketch, and I'll start extruding. So how do I extrude this out? I'll make this and this. Go extrude out, like that. I need to change the extent from distance, or actually no, I need to change the direction to symmetrical, and then I'll change the measurement from half length to the whole length, and then in the distance I can play with one of those user parameters like the stand width. I'll hit OK. There's a little bit of oddity here with this sketch dimension, so I'm going to go into it and fix it up because it is looking a little weird. So I'm going to delete that. And you can see here that I need to make a dimension from here to here. Viewing angle. I'm not sure why it didn't work. View angle. I guess I spelled it wrong. Let me change that to the right spelling. View angle. Wonderful. All right. And then hit stop. There was just a weird oddity there when I applied it first. So now from here we can bring that sketch open. And what I tend to do with all my sketches is I say right click, show dimensions. That way I can modify this. See, I want to push this back a little bit, so change that 20 to a 30. And that pushes it back a little bit. That works fine. All right, so the next things we need to do is create some holes for the mounting standoffs. Mounting holes for the standoffs, right. So I'll select this surface because that's the surface that I just want to sketch on. I want holes there. So with it selected, just make a sketch. And then from here, I need to make 4 holes. And one of the easiest ways I like to do that is to just use a rectangle, and then I'll apply holes to the corners of the rectangle. That way I can better apply sketch dimensions to the rectangle as opposed to having to figure out, how to space out the circles that there are actually perpendicular with each other. Just use the rectangle and then apply circles to the corners. It works out really well. So let me show you. So I'll get my rectangle here. Let me hide the MagTag so I can not see it. And then I'll just kind of sketch a rectangle like that. And then you can just roll over with the circle tool, roll over one of the corners and create a circle. So 3.5 is what will make it, like that. And then what we need to do is we need to figure out the spacing between those between the mounting holes / standoffs on the MagTag. I've already figured it out, but I'll show you how I figured it out. So you can hide everything and look at your model, and then use the measurement tool, which is the hotkey I on your keyboard. And then I'll select one of these circles and then another circle, and it'll tell me the distance between them. So the distance between them is 42.72 going this ways, and then going long ways, it is, let's select one of these circles and then the opposite circle at the bottom, and it says 72.39. So I have my little cheat sheet document here. I've already written it down. I've even written down some of these things to change out. So that's cool. So let me get this in my keyboard, in my clipboard, 45.72. Hit close, bring back the stand, activate the stand, and then like go into that sketch. Here it is. Hide the MagTag for a second. So I'll apply that first sketch dimension to this one here. So that's 45.72. And then the next one is 72.39. So apply that there. Sometimes, there we go, it's working now. All right, so now that I have that, I can move this whole set. Now you notice I only have one circle. I need to make 3 more. So instead of making 3 and applying a dimension to each one of them, I could just mirror this one. I don't have any lines to mirror yet though, so I'm just gonna make some construction lines. So to do that, I just need to figure out what's the center of this line using just rolling over it. It tells me that's the center. So I'll click to make a line there, hit OK, and then I'll do it to the opposite end here. So roll over until I get the midpoint, click, bring it out, and hit OK. And then I just need to tie these 2 points together. So I'll do a shift select and then use a coincident constraint to tie them together. So cool. So now I can actually select these 2 lines and make them construction lines. Do the same thing, double click on any one of these lines. It'll select the whole rectangle, hit the X key, and then they're not going to intersect our circle. So that makes it easier, because if we didn't, then we would have to select this and that can kind of suck sometimes. So again, double click to select the whole chain of lines, and then hit X, and there you go. All right, so now I can actually use this line and this line to make mirrors, right? So the first mirror, I'll bring it up. Let's mirror this circle, and then select our mirror line as this one here, hit OK. Bring up another mirror, select these 2 circles, and then we'll use this line as our mirror line, this one right here. And you can see them previewed there, hit OK, and then they're there. That just makes it easier because now I can just change one circle. Let's say I want this to be 6, and they all change. Turn it back to 3.5. There you go. The reason why they're 3.5 and not 3 is because I just want the screws to go through, to pass through the holes without having to like thread them. It's just easier because the thread is already inside of the standoffs, so that's real secure there. So you don't have to worry about making threads here in the print. So now that it's set up, I need to figure out like position-wise, because I can still move this around. So what I'll do is I'll make a midpoint constraint, or actually let's go ahead and bring in this line. You see this baseline there? Let's bring that in with a projection. So I'll project that into the sketch using the projection hotkey. It's P on my keyboard, and then make sure the projection link is turned on, hit OK, and then there's our purple line. It lets me know it's a projection, right? So now I can do is I can tie a line to the center of that, and then tie it to the center of this line. So now what I can do is I can say I want this line to be horizontally constrained, or vertically, so it goes up and down, and then I can apply a number, a sketch dimension to the length of that. So let's say 12, and then now it's like locked in there. It's not moving. It's in the dead center, going vertically, and then we can play around with this number if we need to. I just went ahead and made that a construction line because just to keep it consistent. I could also do that here down here too, construction line, and then hit OK. So now I need to make an extrude and make a cut to make these holes. So I'll select this one, hit E on my keyboard, and then just append these other holes just by clicking on them. And then I'll rotate around to the back, and then the distance, or actually the extent, change that distance to object, and then I can just select the back of our stand. And then you can see here our cuts are nice and perpendicular with the surfaces, and that's looking good. I'll hit OK, and that's looking good. It's just a habit, right click on your sketch, show dimensions, and now you can see that dimension. And if you ever want to bring up this number here at the bottom, let's just bring it up just to show you. You can do that, and it updates with it. Very cool. So now that I have that, now I can bring back the MagTag model, highlight the whole document, the root of the document. You can see here now it's time to position this thing into place. Best way to do it is with a joint, definitely. So I'll bring up the joint. It's the hotkey is J on your keyboard, and the first line is just pick one of these standoffs. I'll pick this one because it's like right there. So pick the edge of that circle, and then I just need to pick to the circle that's next to it, or that's like the closest to it, which is this one here. So just select that. Fusion will animate it. If you hit the motions tab, just make sure it's a rigid type because it's not moving, or it's not a moving joint. It's just a rigid joint. So that's all good. And then when you hit OK, then everything should kind of glue together and kind of append. So now it's in position, which looks great. So if we ever, so now at this point we can open up any of the sketches, modify it. I think I want to bring this up to like 14, so it moves up a little bit, maybe even to 20, because there is some clearance that I need here for these buttons, and of course the USB-C connector for USB-C cable. I have a feeling that it's still not enough room, so let's do 30. And you see it won't let me do it because, oh, I did do it. It's just it has a warning here because the height is now not good. So when that happens, bring up the user parameters and increase the height. So the stand height is 100. Let's do 110. And that fixes itself, and the joint, it gets all better. Now I do kind of want a hole. I want to punch a hole in the center here near the bottom so that I can have the USB-C cable come through here as opposed to having to be on the outside here. So making a hole in the center could be a good idea. So let's go ahead and just go into this sketch that we already have where our holes are and just add a new hole. So make a new circle. Let's make it 25 millimeters in diameter. I want to cut half of the hole, so I really don't need to do that. I could just grab this line that was projected, hit the X key to make it not a construction line, and then I can say I want the center of that circle to go into this line here. I guess I could just do a coincident, and then that's locked in there. And that can now be used as a profile to create the hole. So hit OK. Make that into extrude. And then again, we'll say extent to object, and then select the back here. So that's nice. Hit OK. So now we have a cut. Now there's one thing about that cut though. Let me show you. To better visualize the cut, use the inspect. Under the inspect menu, use the section analysis, and then just do a side view of it so I can see in the side of it. Looking here at this, because we did a cut, you can see here that it's no longer, it's cutting into the base. And if we do a little measurement here, it says it's 20 degrees off. So I can just shift this so that it's nice and flush, and that's what I want to do. So the easiest way to do that is to use a draft tool. So the draft, your pull direction, I'll select this surface, and then the face that I want to pull is this guy here. And then I can use this handle here, and then just 20 degrees. And you can see here, it's now flush with the rest of the base. And turn off analysis, and you can see that's all nice and clean. So now at this point we can do some stuff like some fillets to round off these edges. So I'll bring up my fillet tool using the F key, and then I'll select those edges that I want to round off. So these 4 at the bottom, and then these 2 at the top. Let's say we want 4 millimeters. Hit OK. I'll also do a fillet down here. Let's add a fillet to these things, maybe 2, and then let's add a big fillet to these 4 lines here that connect the stand to the base. Let's do something like 4 or maybe 3, and that will increase the strength of those 2 pieces joining. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Let's bring up the appearance window. We'll go to plastic under translucent, and then down here we can pick a nice matte color. Let's pick this blue. Right click on it, hit edit. And let's make it a more palatable color, like maybe periwinkle. Yeah, that's looking good. Hit done, hit close. That's looking good. Make sure you save it. Design. And then why don't we bring it into a slicer and see what are some good options for orientation. So let me name this body vertical stand for MagTag. Right click, save as STL. Save it to wherever you want. And now I'll bring it into Cura here. So I'll bring it in. Let's open it. You could print it as is, like that. So let's see what that looks like and how long that'll take to print. That takes 3 hours and 15 minutes. So that's how long that'll take. And really, there's sort of a weak spot right here. I mean, it's not super weak, but it's definitely not the strongest part right here, right where it starts to build the actual stand part. So what I found as a better way to print it is to flip it on its side like this. Let's slice it and get a look at. So it's 3 hours and 3 minutes. So it'll print faster, and the joint here is way stronger. And then you can play around with the thickness values that you want. But that's how I like to print it. I think it'll print pretty well. It'll take a minute, but it's a stand, so that's all good. But yeah, it's fully parametric, so if you want to change the viewing angle, it's really easy to do so. Just bring up the user parameter, and let's say we want something like 60. You can see, all right, now you'll want to play around with like the fillet because obviously it's broken right now, but you can play around with that, and depending on how many features you have and stuff, changing certain things might break, as you saw when we increased the clearance down here. We need to decrease the height, so you can do that. But there you go. I'll have a link to download this file if folks want to use this or create it from scratch. Go ahead and grab the MagTag 3D model as well. So now we have a vertical and a horizontal stand. So both of them work out nice. That's going to do it. Let me know what you guys think of this video, and definitely check out all the rest of the playlists that we have if you've missed any. I hope you guys are staying safe out there, and I will see you in the next one. But until then, remember to make a great day. Bye, folks.